Oh, right, third time's the charm. I've actually pressed this record button, this is the third time now, and the ice cream truck outside has popped off each and every time, kind of stopping in my tracks. Before we get into anything, do we rate the drip? We're on the orange bike, orange machine now, so it's only fair if we make the Mankini match alongside it. And please don't read into the title of the video too much. It's just something that I want to cover throughout this video at some point. It's something I saw one or two people make a comment on, which I thought was just a really interesting kind of viewpoint on it. So if you've been living under a rock, we recently had a work in progress 250 and 450 bike released by the OEM team for public testing. It is available to the OEM supporters, so if you are one... The ice cream truck again, oh my Christ. So if you are an OEM supporter, fourth time's a charm, then you can go and test these out. I'll leave the link to that in the description for you if you want to try it. And so the whole concept of this bike is there's always ongoing work in progress builds of the bikes that the OEM team work on, and usually it's only the testers that really get to try them out each iteration and say where it can be improved, what they enjoy and so on. And I think because it's probably going to be a little bit of time before the full pack is released, where there's a lot of bikes involved, you know, it's not just one or two. There's like a 250 and 450 of every manufacturer. There's also two strokes being worked on currently as well, which I'm really excited for. So there's a lot that goes into it. So for the sake of kind of time and where the state of the game is at the moment, the OEM team decided it would be in their best interest to release these two KTMs that they've worked on at the moment to the public and get as much feedback as possible, really. So I want to use this video as another kind of source of the feedback. So if you guys have any like opinions, like nice solid, like, preferably long form feedback of what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, what you want improved upon, etc., I would love to have that so I can relay that back to the guys. I know a bunch of them do watch these videos and really do value good, like, constructive criticism rather than just the standard, like, this is poo, for example. And so we're on the KTM 450. It seems like everyone else that I've got in this lobby is on the 250, but, you know, me being the 450 rider, I thought it was in my best interest to hop on the 450 bike, and we are on Parlour. Reason being is there is one particular section of Parlour, as you may know, which usually doesn't work with any of the bikes in this game. Like all of the previous OEM bikes, you get a hell of a lot of handlebar wobble or head shake going up this next hill I'm coming up to. However, the one attempt I just done last lap when Mr. Ice Cream Truck was popping off, it went really well. So let's see if we can make it 2 out of 2 and see how stable she is. It is a lot more stable. And these are the kind of things I've been hearing from people that have ridden these already. This is my first time on them, by the way. I've not touched them until this video. I've heard people say that the centre of gravity feels a lot better. So that is, it handles hills a lot better with less head shake, and you get a lot less front end tucks. The downsides that I've heard so far is that the suspension needs a lot of work to feel quite plush. It feels quite stiff. And already after, what we are, like 1.5 laps now, I can feel that exact same information. Up that hill, it felt really good. I've not had any like weird and wonderful front end issues just yet. If anything, it's been back end over the rough stuff. We are running her in completely stock trim at the moment. And I sent a screenshot of someone that said that the suspension was not great to Jesse, who is one of the heads of the OEM team in terms of actually making the bikes what they are and how they handle. And he said, yeah, the suspension is something that does need a lot of work, but this update specifically is like just the centre of gravity side of things, moving the rider's weight a bit more forwards to keep the front end just a bit more planted, I guess. There's basically, whilst this game does label itself on Steam as being a simulation game, it's now become very apparent that when you take real-world data and real-world values and try and just play into the game, that it doesn't like it. It doesn't handle it very well. And hats off to the OEM guys if they're in the past like trying to stick to real life as much as possible, because at the end of the day this is supposed to be a simulation. I think we've now all kind of realised that unless Piboso does like a major physics overhaul, it's never going to work that way. So now they're kind of leaning in the direction of just making the bikes that will work better for the game, and I'm here for that. I really am. I want the game to feel as fun as possible. And to go off topic just for a minute, I watched Reaper Doc's video today about how he feels as a content creator and his enjoyment for the game, and I feel like I'm in the same boat as him, exactly as when I first started playing this game. I found it like so fun, just riding around with friends, and then the faster I got and the more into the competitive scene I got, and the more the game's like glaring issues show, the less fun it's been for me. So exactly like Doc, I want to get back to having that fun. You know, I don't want to take the racing seriously anymore. I'm still happy to show up for my aerial races each Friday and my GP races on the Mondays, but I'm just there to show face, I think, and just ride around and try and enjoy the game. You know, I'm not going to go out there trying to rage at getting a P2 anymore, because some people would be ecstatic getting a second place in those races, and I feel like I've just been a bit moody. You know, I've not been as lively or as happy in the streams as I should be, and that I think kind of reflects back on to the content as well, and you guys as viewers. I have noticed a massive drop-off in the last month in terms of views and general subs on videos across the board, just like on a day-to-day average in terms of videos. I've said it a few times, if you don't know how YouTube views work for us as a creator, YouTube shows statistics on your last 10 videos, like it's a rolling 10 videos, so the last 10 that you've posted, and it will rank the video that you posted last out of 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. And about the last 4 videos I had were a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. They were absolutely down horrendous. But then again, I thought the content in the video and the subject at hand was an interesting one. So you can understand from my viewpoint why that was a little bit discouraging, and I won't lie, on a day-to-day basis, considering that YouTube is my livelihood at the moment, that does actually put me in a bad mood, like just in my day-to-day life, which shouldn't happen. You know, it is still a video game at the end of the day, and most people would absolutely love to be able to just sit at home and play video games all day and get paid for it. So I need to stop being so moany. I need to stop complaining so much. I'm going to try and be as helpful and as constructive as possible all the time. Still going to do the races, like, because I know you guys do really enjoy watching them. Just going to try and make them a bit more lively, a bit more fun, and just kind of take whatever comes my way. You know, the game's the same for everyone right now, but so far on this KTM, it feels good. It does feel good. I think the mistakes and the choppiness I'm experiencing right now is all from a suspension / rear end point of view. I think the front end so far has been really, really good. It's like I'm not scared to push it over the bumps or into these corners. Like, crashing there, that's not front end. That's the suspension not absorbing the bumps well enough. So I think, given the right people and given the right feedback, I am pretty confident that just what I can feel so far, that we'll end up with a pretty decent product. And that's come from someone that has never been an avid KTM enjoyer. Even when the bike's like very, very first release at the start of Beta 18, do you remember when we all had that massive panic at the start of Supercross where the tracks dropped like a day before the race? Or before the pre-season race, or no, it was on the same day as the pre-season race. Like, we all had that panic and trying to decide what bike was what, and ever since then, I've not vibed with the KTM. I've always felt it was a little bit stiff, and the gearing felt a little bit odd. I think gearing feels absolutely fine to me. I've got no issue with it at all. I just think it's the suspension that needs tweaking. So I think the suspension, I think, is a lot easier for the OEM guys to kind of work around. And of course, like, some of you guys are absolutely like geniuses when it comes to getting a suspension dialed. I'm not, so I'll probably ask around a few people, see if I can test some different stuff here and there. But so far, very, very promising. I need to try the 250 out at some point as well, but unfortunately this server that I'm currently in right now is hosted off my own internet. These preview bikes aren't available to run on dedicated servers just yet. Please don't rejoin the track, thank you. So yeah, if I leave the server, it'll all kind of restart for everyone, and I don't want to do that. So we'll stick on the 450 for the sake of this video. So the other topic that I wanted to cover, which is kind of the topic that's probably sucked you all in, is MX bikes being pay to win. The reason I've seen someone say that is, and I can understand it, but I kind of want to debunk it at the same time, is I saw someone comment saying, so now if you pay for OEM supporter, you get the bikes early, so then you have an unfair advantage because you can ride the bikes more. I understand that viewpoint. I see exactly where he's coming from, and if it was a case that these bikes were going to be the only 2 bikes that we ride from now on, and they're going to be exactly the same as this in like a month from now, when a month is like a random date, by the way, don't go quoting that at all. I've not asked anyone. It's probably going to be longer than a month before proper updates, but if, like, let's say a month of time when they release, these are the only 2 bikes and they're in this current state, then yes, I can understand that viewpoint. However, that will not be the case. This bike will probably go through many, many more reiterations. The suspension will end up changing a lot. There'll be every single brand. Like, it's not just the KTM that's getting an overhaul as well. It's going to be all the different brands, all the other manufacturers' bikes that are changing too. So I can see where that opinion has formed. However, I do not believe that to be the case. My other opinion being is it doesn't seem to matter what the track is, what the bikes are, how long the tracks have been out, how long people have been able to play the game for and ride certain bikes. It always seems to be like the same top 5 anyway, like on a race-to-race basis. So I feel like the cream will always rise to the top, as they say. Is that the saying? Is that what the cool kids do these days? I don't know, but I kind of want to debunk that. I don't see that being the case at all. I think this is just another nice way for people that have supported the OEM team from the beginning to get a little bit extra out of their donation, which is cool. Obviously I'm not against this being open to everybody. I wouldn't be against it being posted on mods for feedback, but I'm sure the team have their reasons as to why they've done it this way, and I'm not one to go against that or argue with that. One thing that I'm very, very happy with is with this post on the OEM website, they've been very, very open on kind of what their goal is now, and they've listed everybody that's involved in it. They've gone through who on the OEM team does what, whether it's physics related, whether it's texturing on the bikes, whether it's like engine sounds, for example. They've got everybody listed in there. They've also got the entire list of testers too, myself in there, but granted I've been slacking a lot recently. I've just not had that motivation to start grind testing all the different types of bikes. I do apologise. This hill. Like, I had a bad run up to that hill that time, and that felt a lot better. So that is, I'm happy about this. This is promising. I think we're going in the right direction. So I'm glad with how transparent they're being. It's really cool, and I think we need updates like that. Just even if it's something short on the lines of. This is what we're focusing on next. Like, this is I was going to say maybe this is a rough ETA, but I know there can be a lot of setbacks in creating mods of any kind, so I feel like that would be a bad idea. That might set up false hope of deadlines when they might be unrealistic to reach. I know they've done that in the past, for example, and had to release unfinished bikes. No fault of their own. They just wanted to please the community, and it never really got to that point. But I'm confident. You know, I'm hopeful. I think it comes with anything on this game. I'm always hopeful to begin with, and I feel like that's probably the best way to be. I saw. I'm part of the Paboso DevBuild, the MX Bikes development group as well, and he did say that there is a new dev build up for us to test. But all it's focusing on is the live timing that gets exported from the game, so that's really only for my MXB related stuff all behind the scenes, and also a fix for the road def spikes that we get in game after a track gets dug really, really deep. Apparently that's been fixed now, so we'll see when that eventually gets published fully onto Steam for everybody to try out and see how that eroder works. I'm hoping that he can kind of focus on this game a bit more now. He did state that his real life, his personal life, has been quite intense as of late, so he's not been able to dedicate as much time as he would like to the games. And then any time he has really gone to GP bikes and Kart Racing Pro. I'm hoping that now means that this game can get a little bit of love again. I'll cross my fingers on that. We shall see. Because if we could get this game to a place where the physics and the bikes actually complement each other, I think we could be in for a very, very good time. I think that's the point really where the game will grow the best and people will come back and actually show some interest in it. Because I think it's been slightly downhill ever since around beta 16, beta 17 days, when the traction and things like that started getting tweaked around and messed with. One thing that I don't think helps anymore is the speed of the game has got so quick on an average player basis. So many fast people have come around. The issue is now we're probably trying to push the game further than the physics actually intended in the first place. There's a few anomalies in there, like Hurls and Skills, for example, who are just these rare specimens that can do some very, very insane things on a controller. I have all the respect in the world for them. An old man like me, not so much. I need it to be made a little bit easier for me, so that's kind of the direction I want it to go for. But in the grand scheme of things, just testing these bikes out a little bit now, my lap times aren't amazing. I'm not going to cover that up. I think I've ran a 50-something around here at some point. Probably 58. I can't remember the exact lap times when qualifying was on. But honestly, I feel like it's purely suspension. The Honda suspension that I've got at the moment is so good at soaking everything up. You saw right there as I went into that corner, it got like a weird little pogo effect as I went into it. And I think that's just from the suspension being way too stiff. So if you do have any specific setups for these preview bikes, please feel free to hop into my Discord. We do have a setups channel in there for you to kind of post screenshots of everything. And same again there, that crash there was based on the suspension being too hard, kicked out on me, couldn't kind of rebound back in time. But I think it's good progress, it really is. I think even if you took this bike right now with the front end and where the centre of gravity has been moved to, like the front end stability, if we combine that with a good suspension, we'll be looking good. And cover that across to all the bikes, I think we might be able to see some more actually usable bikes overall. I think that would be a really, really good thing. See some more colours on the gate as well. And I'm here for it. I might actually be motivated to download some people's skins if we have more than just Yamahas everywhere. I've noticed there's been a slight increase recently. You know, see a few Hondas dotted about in the field nowadays, and the occasional Husky and the occasional KTM as well. Not the best... not the biggest fan of the Husky or the KTM current build. But who knows, things could very much change in the near future. I'm excited for it. I know there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and I really do appreciate all of the time and effort people put into it. When I tell you that there's people that are part of the OEM team that are essentially working a full-time job outside of their real-life full-time job to get these bikes working properly, it's not an exaggeration. Like, it takes a hell of a lot of time, and I think we're lucky. We're lucky to have dedicated people, because if this game didn't have people that made bikes and we were still stuck on the MSM, my god, would we be in a world of pain. It would be absolutely unreal. So I'm hopeful for things moving forwards. I do not think this is going to make the game pay to win at all. I feel like that's probably a misplaced opinion there, but it's just not going to be the case. We will have a whole bunch of new bikes altogether, not just the KTMs, and these KTMs won't even be the final versions anyway. They'll probably go through another 10 or 20 changes before they see the public again. But W overall, I love the transparency. I will link you to the page to download these and have a look at that transparency as well, so you can see a full list of what the guys are trying to do. I think that's really, really good. To keep the community updated as well along the way, I think would be epic overall. I hope you have enjoyed this video. A little bit different. We didn't get as many people in as I would have liked. I'm not sure. I'm recording this at about 7 PM on Saturday, so people should be about, unless everyone's off riding IRL. The Americans can't get at the moment. At the same time, probably a little bit of a combination of running on a paid track and running on technically paid bikes. Honestly, the centre of gravity, you need to feel it to understand, especially up this hill on Parla. Take the old KTM, like the old OEM KTM, go up this hill, take this KTM, go up this hill, and you'll notice the difference straight away. It's just so much more stable. I feel like I've not got to not touch my analog stick the entire way up. Like, I can start turning before I get to the top of the hill and not be punished for it, which in a motocross game, I don't know why that's not a given anyway. You know, like, even the MSM bikes have trouble with it, so I know that at its root cause it is a game issue, so the bikes are trying to be made to compensate for that and overcome that, and I know that the factory bikes do a pretty good job of those centre of gravity issues as well. So I think it's all healthy competition as well. I think each bike is going to push each individual team just to do better and better, and will hopefully leave us in the end with a really, really solid set of bikes overall that we all love and enjoy playing on. So that'll do it from me. If I want to just kind of give you the long story short, front end feels good in corners. Centre of gravity feels great up the hills. Rear end / suspension feels a little bit skittish and a little bit choppy. So I'm hoping that can be worked on a little bit moving forwards. Or even if anybody has like a suspension dialed already that eliminates that, let us know in the Discord. You know, sharing is caring after all. I'd love to see it and test it out again. But I think that'll do it for me today. Myself and my orange mankini are going to love you and leave you. I hope you did enjoy. A like and subscribe would always be appreciated. And have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.